Good day. Welcome to the Smart Installations Overview webinar. I'm Fred Woods, Marketing Specialist at Esri. I'll be presenting today along with Mr. Patrick Wallace, Practice Lead for Facilities and Indoor, and Mr. Jeff Archer, Product Engineer. Today you will learn about making your installation smarter. For the webinar, you are on mute. However, you'll see a question window. Please type questions there and we'll review them at the end of the presentation. At the closing of the webinar, there will be a survey. Please complete the questions so we may produce quality webinars. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the page you registered. Thank you for attending. A smart installation improves operational readiness by connecting all departments, providing shared understanding of all the assets and activities on a facility, installation, or campus. Smart installations have enhanced security and services, and they are more responsive to the needs of tenant organizations and higher headquarters. An installation is a secure or unsecure base that has characteristics of a small city or village. This may include a land area that's separated from the local community, a security force, emergency response team, buildings and supporting infrastructure such as roads and utilities, and people that make up the workforce supporting a specific operation or mission. These installations are under the operational control of a manager, commander, or administrator. These solutions we're presenting cover customer needs at two broad scales, portfolio and site. In either case, there is typically a critical mass in sheer totals for building area and the number of employees that pushes clients towards engaging with us, such as 750,000 gross square footage or 2,500 plus persons. At the portfolio scale, there are a range of personas, including executive leaders, corporate real estate directors, operations directors, strategic planners, and workplace service managers. At the site scale, there are facilities, operations, IT, and security managers and staff. The site scale also includes occupants, which can be employees, contractors, visitors, and students. Depending on the ratio of employees to visitors, the site is either a workplace or venue. The ratio of employees to students dictates whether it's a workplace or campus or installation. During this presentation, the words facility, installation, and campus will be used interchangeably. Government facility managers, military installation commanders, and campus administrators use location information to make better decisions. Their facilities are smart, highly instrumented, connected, and digitally equipped. A smart installation capitalizes on location to improve workflows by connecting installation data to a place on the ground, uses the Internet of Things, or IoT, to check and improve efficiency, such as smart lighting. Makes seeing the big picture easy and intuitive by showing asset and project status via a dashboard. Well, what is a smart installation? The phrase smart installations is an umbrella term for several objectives. Under the heading of smart installation are sub-themes such as smart workplace, sustainable installation, safe installation, resilient installation, and smart portfolio. The goal is to improve organizational transparency, planning and analysis, operations, and engagement with stakeholders and others, thus making the installation a place that functions efficiently and contributes to overall readiness for the organization. This is important to make your installation smarter. Esri understands your challenges. Facility managers and installation commanders have key issues like city administrators, such as directives for energy efficiency, safety and security concerns, such as continuity of operations, mandated compliance, such as environmental monitoring of the workplace, enterprise business systems that are disconnected. They need to monitor costs, outlays, and income, such as tenant organization chargeback, and the ability to track assets while achieving situational awareness of all aspects of the installation. Not acting to improve the installation's performance or implementing mandates could mean cost overruns and/or a change of administration. What's the formula for success? Well, creating a smart installation is about leveraging technology, including geographic information systems, or GIS, to its full potential to create installations that are transparent, efficient, engaging, and compliant. We believe that every installation can be a smart installation. We give people tools to help make becoming a smart installation a reality. You might even have some important tools already at your disposal. You might simply need to take another look at how you are using those tools. You might be able to get more out of them. We offer 4 steps to guide you through the process. Step 1 to create a smarter installation is to use a world-class GIS platform. GIS has played a critical role over the years in helping government installations improve their analysis of issues, such as environmental impact and range safety, but needs to be adopted as a location platform to geo-enable the installation's business systems, track assets, model vulnerabilities, and potential situational awareness while maintaining transparency to government professionals, elected officials, and the public. The years we have spent supporting different needs around the globe has led us to create the ArcGIS system with the depth and breadth required to solve real-world problems, helping installations improve their safety and security, infrastructure, health, environment, and more. Facilities, installations, and campuses are mission critical to every organization. One of the primary scales is the workplace. Step 2, you have your location platform. Then you need to create your location strategy. Your facility or installation is unique, and so are the solutions and options for using ArcGIS. Thinking through your location strategy, you will arrive at an approach to using the ArcGIS location platform that best meets your installation's unique needs and goals. The idea is to determine where the highest need areas are and where the location platform could add the most value. We refer to this as the location value assessment. You can prioritize where and how to best apply the location platform and its solutions for your installation, or Esri can assist you. To assist you, we created the launching of the Location Platform Guide that you can use to aid you through the process of implementing and using ArcGIS as your location platform. Now, Pat will take us through what a smart workplace is.
Thank you, Fred. Before I walk us through space management, I want to actually walk us through setting up our location platform and what smart workplace means to your installation. As we begin, I want to talk about the location strategy first. So as step 2, you have your location platform. Then you need to create your location strategy. Your facility or installation is unique, and you know that, and so are the solutions and options for using ArcGIS. Thinking through your location strategy, you're going to arrive at an approach to using the ArcGIS location platform that best meets your installation's unique needs and goals. The idea is to determine where the highest need areas are and where the location platform can add the most value to your organization. We refer to this as the location value assessment. You can prioritize where and how to best apply the location platform and its solutions for your installation, or Esri can assist you. To assist you, we created the Launching the Location Platform Guide that you can use to aid you through the process of implementing and using ArcGIS as your location platform. A high need can be space and move management within a facility. Look, we don't have to go through a big philosophical exercise to understand your location strategy in relation to your installation. That's why we've formulated a number of offerings that we can immediately launch for your organization. One of these is Smart Workplace, which is one pillar of the smart installation. So Esri has a broad vision for how to deliver value to customers that's grouped into two broad scales, portfolio and workplace. The range and intensity of use of our technology encompasses making decisions about a global portfolio to analyzing facilities information at larger scales. And you can begin with points on a map on the left and move to visualization and analysis of detailed floor plan information all the way to the right, sourced from CAD or BIM information. And you can use that to improve the workplace experience of individual employees or visitors in a single space. Now, once you begin with the smart workplace, you get a consolidated map of your facilities and indoor information that can be shared across your organization. Remember, most organizations don't have a facilities system of record in place. So by showing all your facilities and floor plans on a map, we can provide value to your entire organization. It becomes an asset that can be used across your enterprise for multiple purposes. Consequently, this technology is being used extensively to enable smart workplace capabilities for organizations across the world, from interior space planning to space and move management to asset management for many installations. So here I'm going to start with our first demo, and we're going to talk about space management. So with space management, the offering that Esri can provide for your organization, what you're going to get is you're going to get a locator, a viewer, a collector tool to keep that underlying system of record for indoor facilities information up to date, and a number of focused space management dashboards. And you can use these tools to improve space optimization across your organization, as well as to reduce the operational expenditures you're presently incurring for workplace-related services. The goal here is to save costs through strategic management and increase occupant productivity in your organization. So let me hop out of this, and I'm going to just jump into some demos. So one of the first things that we're going to demonstrate is the use of a locator, right? So after you've consolidated your indoor information into a GIS, we can rapidly share those views so that employees tasked with space management in your organization can go to the sites that they're tasked with working on, look at the buildings or series of buildings and individual floor plans that are important to their present work. One tool that we'll begin with is the Campus Place Locator. As noted earlier, we're synonymously using the word campus and installation in this presentation. So you can download this application template from our solutions portal on the esri.com domain, and it comes with a series of instructions on how to set it up. And there's a try it live version of the app. So if I click view the application, it's going to bring me to this web page. And so I'm just going to give you a quick drive-by of the functionality. So number one is the first tier of analysis, right? You get to determine what the color by is on the map. So for you in a space management use case, you could start with use, like this map, right? So I'm looking at the use of indoor space within a facility. I can fleet through the floors rapidly, right? The technology understands automatically how many floors you had. If you had 100-story skyscraper, right, it could handle this. It wouldn't show all 100. You'd be able to increment up and down rapidly because the technology is just that smart. In addition to this, if you had multiple buildings on the campus, you could change buildings. Right now, we're focused on the municipal center. And I could look for people, places, or things. So this is a pretty robust locator tool. It'll churn through your data and find what you need. If you knew that Jesse needed to change offices, I could quickly look up Jesse's name, and I could zoom to that space. So I don't know if you noticed that, but it moved from floor 3 to floor 2 automatically, right? So let's actually let you focus on that. So if I look at MC1, it's going to pull up everybody on the first floor of this particular building. So when I look for Gilbert Fisher, it's automatically going to change the level that it's focusing on in the viewer technology. So this is a tool that allows you and provides you 100% visibility of your facility and indoor assets, right? So you can find any space on any campus at any time and apply any color by that's required to make your space management decisions, whether that's a vacancy overlay, whether that's a space use overlay, or utilization, etc. Now, An example, a more robust example would be one here where we have the Redlands campus at play. So here we've turned on additional functionality in the configuration of the application, and yes, these are configurable apps. There's not a bunch of custom code here. We just pour your data into the app and turn on the functionality that you need for your organization. So here it's more robust because I have multiple sites, and at these sites I have multiple buildings. So you know, for example, if I chose the Esri campus, it's going to recalculate what all the buildings are here. And so now I'm going to be able to choose different buildings. So I'm going to focus on the building that I'm presently in here, in building Q. It's going to default to the first floor. Well, I'm not on the first floor. I'm actually in this conference room. Actually, we were in this conference room. That's a funny story. And then all the LAN wasn't working, so we had to run over to this conference room right before today's meeting. So I can zoom in, right, and I can see that you know, Q2 West Conference Room C. That's exactly where we are. And similar to the last example I provided, we have the first tier of analysis, which is visual analysis, so the color by. And the point of this map is to make vacant and occupied spaces pop. How do we do that? Well, we can see here that the dark red and dark blue are vacant offices, the dark red being vacant manager offices and the dark blue being vacant regular offices. So I can also look for people or places similar to the other applications. So let me, we'll go into that, and I'll look for, my last name is Wallace, so I know I have a pick list here where I have some mixed up names. Here's apparently my double in this this scenario world, Art Wallace. I believe he's on this floor, so the app's going to refocus on Art Wallace's office. So in this space management scenario, we want to get an idea of, you know, are there any holes in the floor plan? We can see here on the east wing, there are a lot of holes in this floor plan, right? Ideally, we could consolidate these empty spaces. You see where my cursor is, and these empty spaces, and this one, into one area. Some buildings are worse than others. So let me, I'm going to jump over to a sad case scenario here to building O, and then I'll come back to Q. So, you know, if we had a scenario on this campus where I knew I had to move a new team into this building, I might be in for a surprise, right? I can immediately see on this floor plate that I got a lot of holes that need to be filled. And, you know, if we tallied all this up, and I'll show you that in a second, we'd find that we probably have over 100 vacancies in this building. I know that you can only put about 30 people on each wing of this building, right? So 100 vacancies, that's about 3 wings of one floor. If I could consolidate that space, I could save a lot of energy, right? I could change the environmental controls for that floor, and over the course of a year for a building this size, it'd make a pretty large difference. Plus, my staff would be a lot happier. They'd be, you know, co-located directly adjacent to their teammates. They wouldn't have to run across the other side of the building to meet with them. And believe me, if this employee in room 225 has to run past this point, they're just not going to make the trip. They're going to sit in their office, they'll send an email, and maybe that email is never answered. Whereas if they were right next to each other, the communication and collaboration could happen. You know, that's the grease of the organization. That's what keeps this in your organization moving forward. And you know what, if I want to come up with a quick plan for this, I could print this off, and it would show up in a new tab, and I could you know, bring that to the meeting with me if I was offline. Now we can pour all this data into our dashboard technology. We call this operations dashboard. It works like a pivot table in an Excel spreadsheet. So I take all that great business information that I've linked in my spaces, and I can start aggregating all my people information to my spaces, my space information to my floors to my buildings, and my buildings to my site. And because I can do that, I can see that, you know, I have nearly 600 vacancies across this entire campus. I'm automatically able to tally up my net and gross characteristics. I can see the floor plate density per person, right? 500 square feet per person, which seems large, but this is an R&D campus, so it kind of makes sense. I do note that the vacancy is pretty much double what I want it to be, but the floor plan layout seems okay if I ping it to my net to gross factor, comparing my net area to my gross area. Now, you're saying, Pat, is this broken? No, it's just keyed into my individual building selection. So I could select one building, then begin to compare and contrast, right? If I knew that, you know, with this building, I could go to the next couple of tabs and I could see in the building, oh, like I told you earlier, we have about 100 vacancies, right? So if we can consolidate that, 100 out of 350, that's one entire floor, right, that I could clear out and I could move in a total new division or team. So I can begin to start doing this type of analysis building to building. I could do multi-select, right? And I could, you know, see what the totals come up to. So if I knew that I wanted to come up with a specific plan on this campus that covered these 3 buildings, because I knew I was acquiring, you know, a new division was coming onto my installation, I could figure out, you know, exactly where to target my space planners to begin coming up with alternative scenarios to move these people. Now, let's jump back in time a little bit. You know, I kind of picked on Art earlier, so let's go back to Art's office. And, you know, let's say that the move plan has already taken effect and, you know, Art is part of the move plan. And we're going to move Art over here because, you know, he's in the wrong team assignment over here. His team is over here. That's where his boss is. His boss really wants to keep an eye on Art. I don't know why. What I could do is, you know, again, looking at the legend here, I can see this is a vacant office, and I'll just click on my little pencil icon, and that means I can start editing. So I move Art over here, and that means I want to change the number of occupants. So I'm going to change that to 1, click Save, and get out. Now, what does that do for me? Well, it means I can keep my underlying system of record up to date. And, you know, here, for those of you that, you know, don't want to go, you know, go into developer mode on one of these apps, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for 1 second. And all I'm really trying to do is simulate, you know, what would look like from the field. So if I click, you know, developer mode here, it's going to pretend that I'm out in the field. And, you know, so I'll zoom back to the scale of the building and then, you know, pretend this is one of your space auditors. They have a tool that they can put in their hands. They can run around across your installation, figure out where people are, and continue to, you know, update, you know, number of occupants, for example, and so we'll make sure, we'll pretend we're out in the field again, and we'll update that information. And then we'll close that and get out of there. And now we know that all the great data in this dashboard is actually current. And so with that, I'm going to end my space management demo. And we're going to go roll into an overview of asset management for your organization. So I'm going to tee this off. And you know, with asset management, the series of apps that we can put in your hands are, well, they're basically the same apps that you just saw. We reconfigure them based on different business information, and because we've done this before and our partners have done this before, we understand you know, what business systems are at play in your organization and meaningful for inventory control and asset management. In a way, asset management is a kind of a fundamental requirement prior to getting to space management. You actually have to have an inventory that you can see, find, track, and update in order to manage that space. And you want to do that so that you can conduct strategic management exercises. Number 1, understand, is your portfolio the right size? Is it in the right place? Do I have the right counts and amounts of things across my organization, right? And if I can keep a tally on it, I can divest of sites that are really in excess capacity, as well as you know, cordon off parts of existing buildings like I was talking about earlier to ultimately save cost on energy maintenance. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to my colleague Jeff Archer, and he's going to run through the steps of how to build that underlying system of record that we would use for you know, other asset management components, as well as other use cases across the organization like space management.
All right, thanks a lot, Pat. Yeah, I'm going to kind of bookend what Pat just presented with a little bit of extra information. Looking at the space management and asset management demonstrations that he showed, I kind of want to take that a step further and move into the capabilities that we offer in 3D with very similar solutions. Here we're looking at a 3D campus viewer for the Esri campus, and in this viewer we can take advantage of a lot of the things that are inherent in the ArcGIS platform. One of those is obviously this 3D capability in a browser. We can see a very realistic view of the Esri campus. We can click to discover, kind of locate people on campus, and we can also route to and from these areas. And I just want to showcase, you'll notice that the user interface is very similar. You can also search for people or places or things, and if I search for Joe Tanks, I can choose to route to Joe's office from anywhere else on campus, and in this case I'm going to start out in building Q, floor number 2. Let's slide down here, and you can see that it also lists conference rooms. I have the capability to search on a lot of different things. I'm going to go from Roccio's office, and you can see here that what we've done is to build a network data set for our campus, and I'll reiterate again that we use the terms campus, facility, and installation kind of interchangeably in this presentation. So this particular application was built using GIS data. This is a standard network data set that you would find in other applications of Esri's ArcGIS platform. We just happen to be doing that indoors in a combination of indoor and outdoor spaces here on this campus. So we can also change different views. There's also obviously a home view where we can have exterior features of the campus, and we provided a lot of this, actually we provided this entire solution available for a free download in the arcgis.com gallery. So if you're interested in checking this out, you can search for Campus Viewer Tools and find that in the gallery. And one of the first steps to creating an effective campus or facility data set is to also create a usable, accurate base map. So this is a lot of times the first step that people take to being able to index the information in a facility spatially, is to build a base data set that has parking places, sidewalks, greenery, statues, that kind of thing, accurate building footprints, and this really kind of sets the foundation for building an accurate GIS. This is also available as a freely downloadable template. This is called a campus editing template, and you can download that from the arcgis.com gallery as well. Now, a lot of times people will start out with this process with data that might be in CAD or BIM. This is very common, and if you already have those data sets, we want you to be able to leverage those as you build your geospatial system of record as well. So here we're looking at building here on the Esri campus. This is building H. This is a floor plan, specifically the second floor, building H. And you can see here in this CAD drawing that we've got some intuitive layer names that conform to the AIA CAD standard for interior spaces. That's the American Institute of Architects. We have a pretty nice CAD data here, so we want to make sure that we can leverage this when we build our GIS. And one of the things that we've really strived to do, in particular in the Campus Viewer tools, is to make these tools available for people that want to leverage that existing data. And something I want to point out here, I'm going to switch over to ArcGIS Pro really quickly. This is the latest version that we're currently working on. We hope to have this released in the next few months. We're leveraging a lot of the functionality that's built into ArcGIS Pro and the ArcGIS platform as a whole to kind of make it easy to get that data and go from a CAD drawing for a building or a set of CAD drawings for a building to a GIS data set. So one of the things that we've done is leverage the direct read capability of CAD. You can see here, this isn't GIS data that I'm looking at. This is actually a CAD drawing. So I can expand here and see all of those CAD layers that we were looking at in AutoCAD just a minute ago. I can see all that directly here in ArcGIS Pro. And what I can use is a geoprocessing tool that we've made available. And I just really want to quickly show how we have kind of a heads-up configuration file strategy for this. I can basically map all the CAD layers to their destination GIS data sets. I can also input some information about the building, things like the address, and even elevation information, which we'll see in a minute is pretty important. I can put the absolute elevation, the real world elevation, and also the base elevation. If I want that to be 0, I can set it to 0. I can also put in individual properties about the floors of the building. In this case, this is a two-story building. I have a link to the CAD file here and some basic information, including access type, which can be important for security. And I can put all that stuff into this kind of WYSIWYG, just an Excel spreadsheet, and then use that as inputs to a geoprocessing tool. Now, we've documented a lot of this process as ArcGIS Pro tasks, and you can see here the first one is to create that campus base map. That gets back to what I was talking about earlier. Once you have that, you can start to create your building interiors, and this is where the tool that I was referring to, it's called the Indoor CAD to GIS tool. This tool basically takes all the information that you put into the mapping for the configuration file and the additional attribution, and in addition to that, it takes the annotation layer that's relevant in the CAD drawing and puts that to an attribute in the output GIS data set. So it also, and here we're looking directly at the, in the interest of time, I'm going to pull the finished casserole out of the oven here. And you can see that the output of this tool is a three-dimensional data set that I can display here in ArcGIS Pro. I can identify on these different areas, and you can see that I've got, this is coming directly from the annotation in the CAD layer, and you can see that this is already Z-enabled 3D data. So we try to make it as accessible as possible to get the CAD drawing into a 3D GIS. We also offer similar capabilities for BIM. We're not quite at the direct read place for BIM yet, but there are several options for getting BIM data into the GIS, either as a source data set or for visualization purposes. So there's more information about that coming all the time. Essentially, intermediate data sets like KML or IFS can make that directly readable. You can also use the ArcGIS data interoperability extension to get BIM data into your GIS. And I think at this point, I'm going to kick it back over to Pat and let him take over from here.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, I wanted to put a capstone on Jeff's discussion regarding, taking all that great facilities and indoor information and putting it into a consolidated spatial database, being able to find any facility asset, indoor asset across your organization, drill into it, dig up underlying information, and then move to a scenario again, like my analogy to a Excel pivot table, cast that information to a part of our technology stack that can aggregate, churn, and burn on that great business information, and such as facility conditions. So if we have your inventory and you're conducting facility condition assessment reports across your organization, I know many of you are, you can do something like this, right? So we can retrieve any building, any space, floor, anything that can be represented in the CAD at will, put it in GIS, zoom to the right installation. And in this scenario, we're using San Francisco State University, so we're going to have to use our imagination a little bit and pretend this is an installation. But it does have a similar mix of assets, facility assets that you would find at a typical installation. And so here I can see all our facilities, and immediately I can understand again that first level of analysis, the visualization. I can see through the color by that it's showing me better to worse with regard to my facility condition index, and can actually begin to programmatically slice and dice the data through some of the configurable functions in this dashboard technology. So for example, if I wanted to retrieve information about my below average, or let's say my poor facilities, and understand the total cost of my organization regarding deferred maintenance, right? I just click into that query. I can see that none are showing up as poor, but what if I look at below average? It's going to find 15 buildings that meet that criteria. So I could select those buildings, right? I can zoom to the extent so I make sure I'm seeing all of them. And what I can see here is that the selection has actually changed the value in this chart. Now this is keyed into everything, this first chart regarding the average facility condition for all the buildings, which is almost 0.3. I can see that for the buildings I've selected, it's 0.43. And I can pull up, detailed information about each of the buildings that, is really, my poor performers, right? So I can dig into the details. I can see the 10-year total needs in terms of repair costs. I can also see some aggregated, charting here. So I can look at, the cost summary for, the installation as a whole versus the load on, or the report from my poor performers, right? So out of, $500 million of, reinvestment requirements on these facilities, half the total is really coming from my poor performers, right? So if I took care of them, the rest would take care of itself. And, that's typically the case with regard to facility asset management. And then, we could, pull up, total cost as well, again, comparing, the selection to the entirety of the underlying data set. And I could expand this, right, for presentation and reporting purposes. At some point, the map is less important than the stats, and at some points, the reverse is true as well. So, I think this is a great tool. As we've shown, it can be repurposed for space management, asset management, and in your mind, I know you're thinking, well, we could borrow our energy data. Yeah, you can, right? You can do a lot of things with a tool like this. It's, it's eminently configurable. It's easy to make changes as long as you have the underlying business information to connect to your facilities and indoor data. And with that, we've completed our second demo with regard to real property asset management. And I hand it back to you, Fred.
Just to review, Pat presented technology enabling better control and visibility to help with space and move management. He also demonstrated apps configured for asset management to help you make better informed decisions to create an improved workplace. Jeff demonstrated how to build a GIS for facilities and campuses that provides full coverage for indoor and outdoor spaces, starting with existing CAD data to creating tools and visualizations for navigating from an office in one building to another. After you develop your location strategy, you need to deliver real solutions. With the ArcGIS location platform in place and your priority needs identified, the next step is to deliver the solutions that meet the needs of your facility, installation, or campus. You can create your own applications if you like. However, in the long run, it can be difficult to keep up with the creation of all the apps needed or desired by your organization. There are the personnel and monetary costs of creating and maintaining apps. Maintenance can be a challenge because technology changes and advances, and your workforce have high expectations for app performance and quality. Fortunately, more than 150 ArcGIS apps are included with ArcGIS. These are a series of ready-to-use, downloadable app templates that support a wide range of applications for facilities and installations. The apps can help you get going faster. They are designed for immediate use and can be configured as you deem appropriate. Importantly, they are fully supported by Esri, which mitigates the headache of maintenance and keeping the apps professional looking. The final step is to develop strong relationships with Esri partners. If you are ready for more advanced solutions or have specialized needs, you have access to the Esri partner community. Our partners are part of our fabric, and they build solutions on the ArcGIS location platform. They're also just like us, committed to your success. Our business partners round out our approach to delivering smart installation offerings. Our partners develop enhanced solutions that can be integrated into business systems of record or linked to citizen engagement tools. As you look for more advanced solutions, you can migrate to an Esri business partner solution or combination of solutions for a fully integrated approach to your workflows. And you can remain confident in your approach knowing that the ArcGIS platform is behind these solutions. Specialized solutions and initial operating capabilities are available from Esri partners. These partners provide functional offerings ranging from safety and security to portfolio management to IoT lighting. Here are partner offerings that can help you jumpstart your installation to be smarter. GIS Inc. offers app for navigation that enables occupants of a building or campus to identify best routes between locations. Space utilization for real-time and historical data to provide actual numbers for quantifying space utilization, and predictive maintenance, enabling you to configure data streams to provide real-time health indicators of whatever systems being monitored to identify potential system faults before they occur. Penn Bay offers Envision Facilities GIS software for facility management to create order out of complex facility data, making your information more intelligible and valuable. Portfolio planning and management capabilities enables you to aggregate and visualize data to give you a truly holistic perspective of your portfolio. And space and move management to focus on allocating and optimizing existing space utilization and managing moves, adds, and changes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Building a smart installation is daunting and can take years. Well, you're correct. Some obstacles and objections include budget, costs, and the number of mandates and directives to comply with. With the ArcGIS location platform, you can implement solutions incrementally to tackle your most critical tasks. Tackling one project, issue, or need at a time, such as facility management, space management, asset management, or IoT lighting to make your installation smarter becomes less daunting. You have options to build off of what you already have. You can work with Esri or Esri partners to move your facility or installation to be smarter. You can implement quick solutions to realize savings of time, resources, and money. This is just the overview webinar. In upcoming webinars, we'll dive deeper into these topics to help you quickly jumpstart your installation to be smarter. Further topics include smart workplace, sustainable installation, safe installation, resilient installation, and smart portfolio. You can sign up for the series or just for the topics you're interested in. And finally, visit the Esri Smart Installations page to download the industry perspective, Creating Smart Installations with the Power of GIS. For immediate action, complete the Contact Us form at the bottom of the page, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. Now we're open for questions. How about one for Jeff? To implement a asset management system using CAD data, how simple is that to do?
Well, a lot of it's going to depend on the quality of the input data set, obviously. I mean, this is a problem that goes back to the earliest days of GIS, I think. And for the most part, though, I think the advantage is that interior spaces have standards that are kind of, especially for the architectural community, that can really help. If you have consistent layer naming in a CAD drawing, for example, or a series of CAD drawings for a building, that's really going to make it a lot easier. We've kind of built our CAD to GIS tools based on that assumption. That's one of the prerequisites. The other prerequisite is that the CAD data has to be geo-referenced. So we've also made some tools available to help that. There's an entire new ribbon in ArcGIS Pro specifically for geo-referencing CAD data. And we've made a video available on YouTube to make it pretty simple. It's literally like 6 or 7 button clicks and you can reference a CAD data to a known GIS data set, or CAD drawing, excuse me. And once you have those things in place, it's just a matter of importing and mapping out the correct attribution. So I guess it's easier now than it ever has been, and it's going to continue to get easier and easier. And the same, you'll also see the same things happening for BIM as well in the future. We're working toward that.
So this is Pat, and I'll quickly follow on to say that, a lot of you, aren't going to undertake that step yourself. You're going to try and, or going to necessarily try and find a vendor to do it for you. So we've pre-identified some preferred vendors to work with where we've already set up set up the production teams here in the U.S. with U.S. nationals or offshore if that's an option for you, where we could do that at scale and at cost for your organization. So you hand us a dump truck full of CAD, we will process it and put it into a consolidated GIS database that you could use again and again for multiple purposes across your organization. So for a campus our size, Esri campus, 1 million square feet, the cost, estimates going to be less than 15K to process it here in the U.S. And that again depends on the provenance of your CAD. And what Jeff didn't show you is that there's a big Excel mapping document that you can use to bulk load, a ton of CAD in, just sourced to your data directories. So if you did want to use those tools, you can bulk load that CAD and begin processing, tomorrow if you wanted to download these tools.
All right, it looks like there's another CAD question. Other than CAD data, can other drawings be accommodated? The short answer to this question is yes. Generally speaking, you'll want to use the DWG format. It's kind of the common intermediary format for this kind of thing. So that's the approach that we've taken with the tools that are available for download today. In terms of direct read, ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Desktop can read several different flavors of CAD drawings, not just CAD data, but other vendor types as well. So I would encourage point you to the documentation for direct read on CAD. The tools that I demonstrated today, the indoor CAD to GIS tool specifically, is designed to work with .dwg CAD drawing files only. But generally speaking, no matter which vendor is creating the drawings, there should be an option to either export or convert that to a DWG format. So we find that to be the most accommodating format for us to support.
Well, I'll follow on real quick. Our business partner, Safe Solutions, they have a product called FME, Feature Manipulation Engine, and we could take all comers of spatial data. You could start with PDF data if that's all that you had, right? So we can take the layers of PDF data, we could geo-reference it, pin it to an absolute XY position in the world just using that tool set, and we can run that in an iterative fashion. So if all you had were PDFs, right, and then you yourself had the time to say where the absolute position in the world was, or you outsource that particular task, you could run a tool like that to bring that into your GIS.
And I'll even take it one step further. I'll just add on that even if you don't have digital data at all, there are options if you have, say, just blueprints for older buildings in the facility. There are options for either using a third party to get those into a digital format or going through a lot of the tools that we've also talked about.
Well, we've gone back to the future with a lot of our existing clients. One, some of the labs that we've worked with in the federal government, and one in particular, State of Hawaii Department of Education, 300 plus sites across all the islands. They had nothing, right? So we began by extracting features from high-res ortho photos. So we flew all their sites. We got ortho photos, 2 to 4 inch resolution. We had teams. In this case, it was offshore, but we have estimates that we can rapidly provide a quote to you for onshoring that work with U.S.-based employees. To create your data set from scratch. So if you have nothing, we have a solution for you. So I think there was a question, Fred, that you had.
Yeah. Well, how do we connect to other business data or systems with ArcGIS?
So similar to the CAD question, we've been working with partners to connect to systems of record like Tririga and Maximo and make that an easier off-the-shelf type of integration work. So on the CMMS, computerized maintenance management side, we typically get requests to work with Maximo, for example, or SAP, or other partners that we work with are like TMA, Azteca, AssetWorks, CityWorks. And Esri is an integration platform among many things, right? So it's really easy to connect to other enterprise databases. meaning there's a server somewhere in the background, usually on-prem in an organization like yours, you know, kind of behind your firewall. That's what I mean. And so we could connect to a SQL, you know, NoSQL, Postgres, or Oracle type database infrastructure. And as long as there's a common key that we can connect to your spatial data, we can make it happen for you. So if you had a, you know, great employee data or great building on facility condition, we could really easily connect that data directly to your systems of record. You know, again, a lot of these are off-the-shelf type offerings that we could work with you on, or provide it, you know, help to your organization via what we call technical transfers. So we have, you know, some services packages that you could, you know, reach out and deploy within your organization, working with Esri or Esri partners, or in a similar vein, a lot of you use our EAP program, which is like a white glove service where you have credits that you can use for learning with our training organization, or for services work to do what I just said.
And one last one here, as we're running out of time. Notice that there's dashboards. How do you bring in business system data for that, for the dashboards?
Okay, Fred, that's like a follow-up to the other question. So once we've connected to that underlying business information, let's say I know I have buildings, and let's say I'm working for the Navy and I did an engineering report for a different building. So a lot of times in my past life, I would do things like that with the Navy and Coast Guard, and we'd give it like a you know, a bad to good scorecard within each of the spaces in a building. You know, on the engineering report. And you know, as long as there was a unique key for spaces or buildings that was linked to that that engineering report and estimate, you know, I could link that directly to what I see on the screen. So I could drive this symbology like I was showing you earlier with those legends based on data coming directly from those reports. So, you know, we're in the 21st century. Ideally, we're not putting those reports in an Excel spreadsheet anymore, or in a PDF. We're actually putting that in a structured database that makes it easy to connect to a GIS system. And if you're not doing that now, you can kind of see the art of the possible. So maybe in the future you can change your specifications for field collection to make it easier to do just that. So if that's the type of data that you have, it's really easy to create a map view that we can pour into a dashboard like that. The dashboard wants what the dashboard wants, which is really just counts and amounts and categories. And as long as you have a category, we could slice and dice it and aggregate that information in that dashboard technology. Oh, we just got another question. I'll read it for everyone else if you're not able to see the questions. It says, hey, we're interested in the webinars. Do we have timetables for those? So I'm going to throw that over to Fred, because he is he's the master of the time.
Well, first I want to thank Jeff and Pat for their demonstrations and their input for this webinar. And thank everybody else for attending. It's great group of people as well as questions. So the next webinar, Smart Installations, Smart Workplace webinar, where we're going to dive deeper into this, the workplace, is going to be on the 21st of June, and that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. You will be receiving an email shortly after this webinar to give you a new link to the entire page for the webinar series, where you can sign up for just specific topics or the entire series. So stay tuned for that, and I thank you very much for joining our webinar today, and you all have a great day. Thank you very much.